Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Are you waiting for the start of the show? Oh, I'm sorry. I was just practicing my delivery. Sorry about that. Just give me a minute. I'll go and shave and change. I'll roll the credits in the meantime. Oh, wow, that was a rush. Just give me a minute to get my breath back. Okay, I got my breath back now, so I think we can start. I'm sorry about all that fuss at the beginning. Well, I think 2016 was yet another great year in terms of membership and bowling success for our members. And also we held the Ontario Junior Championship that year, which was a big event for us. We'll hear in this edition from Steve Haslam, who was the president in 2016, and amongst other things we'll hear how he got down and dirty doing the job. But more of that later. Let's start again with feedback on last week. Great, the ratings were up, pleased to say, 109 views for this edition, but we're still behind the 212 views. We had 2012 year views when we had 149. So let's try and beat the 149 this week. Let's get all your friends and relatives, give them likes, shares, email them, and then they'll find out what a great club we have here. Anyway, some of the comments that we had back were, excuse me a moment, people liked seeing Louisa. That was great. Somebody said they loved 2015. I don't know if they meant they loved the video or they just loved that year. Enjoyed it very much. And my favourite comment was delightfully funny and engaging. Thanks to my cousin Jan in Massachusetts for that. Well done, Jan. Anyway, on with the show. So as I've already mentioned, Steve Haslam was the president that year, and he opened the season along with the Deputy Mayor John Henderson. The headlines show that it was a soggy and cold day. We were all huddled together in the clubhouse having our potluck lunch, and the weather wasn't good enough for us to bowl that afternoon. Anyway, I asked Steve when he started lawn bowling and how it was he became president.
I started lawn bowling in 2014. I guess my potential was realised after my first ever open tournament win when I won the men's pairs with a little help from Martin Foxall. The penalty for that was being persuaded by you to becoming vice president for the year 2015, which obviously led to the presidency in 2016. In the last video, we saw Louisa say that being president was easy because you could get everyone else to do all the work to make you look good. That might work for someone who knew what needed doing by everyone else, which of course I didn't after only 2 years. Not only that, but in 2016, our club had the honour of hosting the Ontario Under-18s Junior Championships. So I was really dropped in at the deep end.
Despite being dropped in at the deep end, Steve did a great job in 2016, and we'll hear more from Steve later on in this video. Anyway, let's kick off our season on Victoria Day. On Victoria Day we started the season with the Open Fours and a win for the Coburg team, the Milligans and the Van Steins. The first club tournament of the season followed with a win in the Coaches Cup for Dave Hicking, Nancy Fargo and Joe Carlton. We then moved into 3 tournaments in 4 days, the Spectacular Walters Systems, the Jim Gordon Men's Pairs and the Junior Pairs. In the Spectacular Walters Systems, the winners were Ralph Hewitt, Mike Place and Ralph Stoffers. Ralph Hewitt, affectionately known as Ralph Shortmat. And in the Junior Pairs, Emily Smith and Bailey Van Stein came second. On the weekend of June the 19th, the District 14 pairs playdowns were held in Bobcaygeon, and Bailey Van Stein and Louisa Arthur were playing. There were only 2 teams, so it was a best of 3 games. They lost the first game 23-5, but then won the next one 16-13, and the last one 16-9, thus qualified for the Ontario finals. Ben Van Stein and I played in the men's pairs, but we'll brush over the facts by saying that we did not qualify. As we have mentioned previously, we hosted the Under-18 Ontario Championships in June of 2016, the first time we had hosted a provincial, certainly in my time at the club anyway. I asked Steve how he approached it and how he thought it went.
Fortunately, we have a wonderful team looking after the youth in our club, in particular Cheryl Ann Milligan, and with their help and the experience of other members, I was able to find out what was needed. It was a full-time job for me for a while, but we came through with flying colours and hosted a successful tournament full of pomp and circumstance and some wonderful performances from the juniors who all showed great sportsmanship. The club received great publicity for the event, thanks to you, Bill. All your efforts with the media, of course. Our club had 4 participants in the championships: Emily Smith, Braden Saunders, Bailey Van Stein and Ben Van Stein. Bailey won a silver medal and both she and Ben qualified for the Canadians. They both ended up the season winning the awards for Bowler of the Year, and Bailey went on to be named to the national team in the North American Challenge in Vancouver.
The Club Canada Day tournament is every bit as traditional as the Waterfront Festival and the Canada Day Parade, and is always eagerly anticipated by our members. However, in 2016, Bailey Van Stein, Louisa Arthur and Pat Bylock all had to miss the tournament as they were playing in provincial events at opposite ends of the province. Bailey and Louisa, having won the District 14 Playdowns, were playing in the Ladies Pairs Ontario Championships in Sarnia. At that time, Pat Bylock was still registered in District 10, and she was playing with her partner Kathy Larking in a Ladies Pairs Canadian Championship qualifier in Nepean. Congratulations to Pat, who won a bronze medal in her event. Bailey and Louisa nearly emulated that feat, but just missed out on a medal. A round-robin record of 2-1 on day 1 was good enough to qualify them for the quarter-final on day 2, and after a 20-6 win, they were into the last 4 in the medal rounds. Semi-final was a really tight game, but they lost by 15-19 and had to play off for bronze. Another tight game went down to the very last end, but unfortunately it went against them. However, this was a hugely creditable performance from both players. For Bailey, it capped a notable few weeks in which she won silver at the Ontario Junior Championships, and for Louisa it was a personal highlight, having never played in a provincial championship before. And for me it was a nerve-wracking weekend. I couldn't sit still. I had to keep moving. I'm a better player than I am a watcher. Back in Coburg, the weather forecast on Canada Day was a cause for concern, and the Drawmasters decided to change the format from 3 10-end games to 3 8-end games. That was a wise decision, as shortly after the games ended the rain came down and the greens were filled with puddles. The winners that year were Carl Ferguson, Thelma Eastcott and Ron Covert. The following week we had the Cutthroat Tournament, and Emily Smith took home the trophy that year, a wonderful achievement for her. That was quickly followed by the Windmill Tournament, which was held on a really hot day, and the winners were Wendy Wren, Bailey Van Stein and Pat Anderson. And soon after that we had the annual match against Wilmot Creek, and I'm pleased to say we retained our trophy that year by 18 points to 10. At the beginning of August, Ben Van Stein and Bailey were in Vancouver and competing in the Canadian Junior Championships. This was their second appearance in the championships in 2 years. After the round robin, Ben had a 4-2 record and 12 points. However, to have a chance at competing for a medal, 15 points were required, and in the end, Ben finished tied in 5th place in a field of 18. A really good performance from Ben. Bailey finished in 4th place in 2015, but this time she went one better to finish 3rd and take home a bronze medal. She finished the round robin in 4th place with a 4-3 record. In the bronze medal game, she played Emma Boyd, who had beaten Bailey 18-10 in the round robin match. And when Boyd took an 11-4 lead, it looked bad for Bailey. However, in an epic match, Bailey clawed her way back to take the bronze medal by 18 points to 17. Way to go, guys, both Ben and Bailey. Next up was the anniversary tournament, as we celebrated 109 years. The winners were Donna Longman, Thelma Eastcott, Roy Thornycroft and Bonnie Sheridan. And you don't need me to tell you what's happening in this next photograph. In the novices tournament that year, we had the unusual situation of Dave Hickey and Jan Skillen playing against Judy Hickey and Brian Rogers in the final game. It was Judy and Brian who prevailed though and won the trophy that year. We didn't hold singles that year, we tried playing pairs instead, and the men's pairs winners were Peter Carita and Dave Carlton, and the ladies Diane Lauder and Bonnie Sheridan. Before we knew where we were, it was the end of August and the season was starting to wrap up. The MVP Sports 4321 Junior Tournament was held, and it looks like they were having lots of fun, as they always do. And the final tournament of the season, the Sadie Hawkins, won by Kathleen Shirley, Bonnie Sheridan and, appropriately, President Steve Haslam. And so another season of bowling came to an end, and we finished the season in the usual way with a potluck lunch and a jitney after the lunch. And as you will see from these photos, the weather was much better than our opening day. Nan Hendren, the incoming president, bowled the final bowl of the season. I'm going to leave the last words on 2016 to the President, Steve Haslam, but before I go, just a couple of things I want to update you on. Last week I mentioned that the age limits for the youths were being put back by a year. That was incorrect. It's only the novices that are being put back by a year. And also we've had confirmation this week of something not unexpected, but all the Ontario play downs for 2020 have now been cancelled. So that's about it from me. Before I go though, I'd like to just say once again, stay safe, look after yourselves, and cheers from me.
2016 was not all glitz and glamour. That year we had a problem with our sewer pipe, and I spent some time with a shovel in the bottom of a muddy trench. They never told me about that when I agreed to be president, of course. More manual labour was involved when Carl Ferguson and I removed the overgrown and very prickly bushes from the east end of the clubhouse. 2016 was also the year we had the new railing installed, a great improvement to the clubhouse. Also that year we nominated Ralph Stoffers for an OLBA Appreciation Award for his greenskeeping work, and that was presented to him at our anniversary tournament. All in all, it was an interesting and informative year for me, and one thing I did learn besides how to cut cakes was that the President is dependent on many people for their hard work and guidance throughout the year, and I thank all of them for helping me through the 2016 season.